welcome back for another lesson. Now, when you learn English, you might struggle with everyday greetings. Now, this is because textbooks don't always show you how to do it in the real world. Now, your English textbooks may stick to the standard or the basic and boring way of saying hello or bye. Now, if you want to greet a native speaker, or if you are greeted by a native speaker, you may sometimes get a little bit confused if you hear something other than the usual hi or bye. Now, this means that there are obviously more ways of greeting in everyday English. So please, stay tuned with me in today's lesson because I am going to show you some new ways to say hello or goodbye in English. Now, first of all, we're going to look at different ways of saying hello. The first phrase you could use is hey there. Now, this sounds more casual and friendly, and it could be used between friends or possibly romantic partners in spoken English, text messages, voicemail messages, or even emails. Now, this phrase is sometimes also great to use to someone at random, like someone that you just meet at the coffee shop, or someone in the supermarket, or perhaps someone at a bar. You could greet them by saying, hey there. You could follow it with, hey there, nice to meet you. Next up is the phrase, what's going on? Now, this could be used between friends or acquaintances in an informal setting, like at a party. This phrase could also be used when you greet a loved one over the phone. You could say to them, hi, what's going on? Or, hey there, good to see you, what's going on? Up next is, hey, what's up? Now, this is again a casual greeting that can be used between friends, colleagues, siblings, family, whoever. Hey, what's up? If you bump into an old friend, you may say, hey, what's up? Another way of saying hello is, how are you doing today? Now, this again is formal, and it could be used at work between a client or a customer, or between colleagues or the boss and his workers. You would say, hi, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? I hope that helps. Another phrase you could use is, hey, there she is. Now, this is usually used in a situation when the person you are greeting is someone that you know very well. Now, this is a way of saying that you have been expecting to see that person and you are very happy when you do see them. Ah, hey, there she is. Another expression that you could use instead of using the simple hello is, how's everything going? Now, this is simply another way of saying, how are you? It is used very casually. How's everything going? You could even combine it with saying, hello, how's everything going? Or, hi, how's everything going? Another expression you may want to try is, how are things? Now, this is used instead of saying, how is everything going? And it is again used casually. How are things? You could again match it with, hey, how are things? Up next is, good to see you, great to see you, or nice to see you. Now, these could all be used informally, or you could use them casually between friends or family, or even colleagues at work. You could use these expressions when you haven't seen someone in a while. It's so nice to see you. Oh, good to see you back at work today. Nice to see you. Up next is the expression, what's happening? Or more casually, what's happening? This is mostly used by younger people. Now, they might use this phrase to greet their friends when they see each other in class or at some social event, like out in a bar. They may say, hey, what's happening? Another expression you may want to use is, how are you doing? This is another casual way of saying, hello, how are you doing? How are you doing? Nice to see you, how are you doing? Now we have just covered different ways to say hello. Now let's have a look at some ways to say goodbye in English. First up on our list of saying goodbye is see you later. Now this is something that you would say after saying bye. So mostly it is said as bye, see you later. And it's used in a casual conversation with friends or colleagues. See you later. Next up on the list is I've got to get going or I must be going. Now this could be used when you're ready to leave a social gathering. You have to say this because, let's be honest, it's rude just to get up and walk away or just to get up and suddenly say bye. Now this is a way of preparing the people that you are about to leave so that when you finally say bye, it shouldn't come as a surprise to them. Now, sometimes you can also explain the reason that you are leaving the situation. Here's an example of using this. I have to get going. I have to get up really early in the morning for football practice. I must be going. Up next is the phrase, take it easy. Now this is a very casual way of saying, have a nice day. It's also a way of encouraging someone to relax and not to stress themselves out too much. However, take it easy is sometimes also used to calm down an angry or an irritated person. So please be aware when you use this and make sure you're using it in the right context. Take it easy. You could even pair it with the term, see you later, take it easy. Up next is, I'm off. Now, you can start this phrase by saying, right then, I'm off. Or you could say, anyway, I'm off. Now, this expression also is a way of announcing that you're leaving, so it doesn't come as a surprise to the people that you are leaving. But you don't do it abruptly in order to sound polite. So you wait a while, and then you would say, oh, all right then, I'm off. You could again add your reason as to why you are leaving. For example, oh, I've got school tomorrow, all right, I'm off. Another expression you may want to try is, I look forward to our next meeting. Now this is used in a much more formal setting. It is a way of saying that you'd like to continue having business dealings with this particular person. Now, this expression is a way of letting the other person know that although you are saying goodbye now, you want to keep in touch for the future. I look forward to our next meeting. Or you could say, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Another expression that you may want to try is, it was nice to see you again, or it was nice seeing you. Now this is a way of saying that you are happy you met this person and you hate to leave them, but you have to unfortunately go. You could even invite the person to meet you in the future if you wanted to. Here is an example of using the phrase, I hate to leave you, in a situation. It was nice to see you again. How about we catch up later over the weekend? It was so nice to see you again. Our next phrase is later, laters, or catch you later. Now these are all slang ways of saying see you later. These phrases are used very casually and with people that you would know very well, such as your close buddies. Catch you later, see you later, it was nice seeing you, laters. Peace out is another casual way of saying see you later. Not used very commonly, but you could use it for a change, especially with those buddies of yours. Peace out, dudes. Another expression could be saying, I'm out, or I'm out of here. Now this expression is used with friends, which is why it should be only used casually. Now when you're out and about with your friends and you remember that you have to rush home for dinner, you could say to them, oh, sorry guys, I'm out of here, or I've got to go. You could also say, okay then, I've got to scoot, I'm out of here. Up next is the expression, I gotta jet, I gotta take off, or I gotta hit the road. This is used instead of, I'm out of here, or I've got to leave. Again, these phrases are very casual, in that you should only use them among your friends and close ones to be sure not to offend anyone. I gotta jet, I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's lesson on different ways to say hello and goodbye. I hope that you have got some new ideas that you can try out when greeting and saying farewell to some people that you know. I'll be back with some more videos soon, but before I go, please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click that bell icon to ensure that you are staying up to date with regular videos. I'm Kat, and it was great having you. See you later.